Hello, my little lambs. It's me, Phoebe, and today I'm gonna be yapping to you about my OC, especially for DC Comics, because, um, anyways, um, fuck, I didn't want that. Okay. Hello, my little lambs. It's me, Phoebe, and I'm back at it again with another video. However, this video is different because I will be yapping about my OC, who I designed specifically for the DC universe. Because I told y'all I'm getting into DC. I'm getting into it. I'm getting into it slowly but surely. I've dipped a foot in the water. I dipped a foot, solely a foot, not up to my ankle yet, but I dipped a foot in. I don't get why you guys watch me, but anyways. anyways. So we're gonna talk about my OC. Her name is Eden. And I love her to bits and pieces. Now, as you can see, she's beautiful. Well, I mean, you guys are seeing the sketch right now as I am talking about this, thinking about like how early it is in the video. But yes, right now you guys are seeing Eden as I am drawing her. She's a beautiful lady who I adore so much, and I honestly, my goal is I want her to actually be a part of DC and not just a character of mine. And I want to, like, I'm still trying to figure out essentially like her backstory and stuff. But she is a lawyer. Anyways, let's start from the beginning. Anyways, her name is Eden Perez. Her full name is Eden Angelica Perez. Picked by her father, as her mother was absent all her life. Now, her father is Hector Perez, and he is a military man. He is part of the army. He was a general, and he's dead. You gotta have some trauma to go with the character in the DC universe. You gotta have some trauma. But yes. Eden is essentially an orphan at this time that I'm drawing her. She's an adult, as you can see in the drawing with Bruce. She will be based in Gotham. Because I believe... Anyways, sorry, I'm like getting like way ahead of myself, but it's also, this is me just yapping and this is me rambling, so you guys are gonna like watch this and enjoy it, okay? Yeah, her father's dead. I'm like, let's start from the beginning. Her father's dead. She was essentially raised by him all her life. He didn't remarry. Her mother, he didn't remarry at all after her mother abandoned them both after giving birth to Eden. Because her mother essentially didn't think she was ready for this. She was suddenly, I don't want kids, I can't do this. And she scurries off. You know, GTFOs. So she GTFOs, and Hector, he's like, damn, so what am I gonna do? So he decides he retires from the army to raise his daughter. And now what he does is now he runs an auto shop, and to support him and Eden. And they're living in New Orleans, which essentially is, if we want to call it like maybe like the spookiest place on earth, if we want to get real. Yeah, she lives in New Orleans, and yeah, so she's gonna have a little southern accent to her, which she tries to hide, but she can't hide it all too well. And yeah, basically they lived on a ranch that he had owned before, um, or well, I should say, well, during he got it during his time in the army. Him and his wife Eva lived there for a while before, while they were married and before she was pregnant with Eden. So yeah, so they live on the ranch. Eden grows up, pretty much the first 12 years of her life with her father. So she's very, let's just say she's like attached to her father. Like, they have a good relationship. He taught her that loyalty is like probably the most important thing, that to find loyalty in people. Because if you can't be, if the person can't be loyal to you, then they're of no value to you. They are not the right friend for you, anything like that. So find loyalty. Loyalty is like one of the traits that she looks for in people. And she exudes loyalty. Like, you will not find a more loyal person than Eden, for sure. Because her father taught her that, because he was taught that you have to be loyal and you have to trust and believe in people that have your best interest in heart. You know, like, basically like a team. And they were like a team for like the longest time. He raised her, he taught her some like defense skills in case she needed it, because she's a woman living in America, which is very tragic, you know, to say the least. But she's a woman living in this world, and she's his only daughter. So he figured that he might as well teach her how to defend herself and how to, you know, he taught her how to fight with a knife that he bought for her. Basically just taught her some skills that she needed to learn in case she ever found herself in a situation or anything like that. Just taught her everything, because he wanted his daughter to be prepared for the world, because the world isn't so kind. And he knew that for a fact, because he'd seen the horrors and the tragedies and everything like that. And then one day, after he's well retired, now I don't know if this is like accurate or anything like that, but his old friends who are still enlisted called him up, because he was a part of a project called Project Phantasm. So, part of Project Phantasm, they were trying to develop. This is gonna be a huge ripoff of like Danny Phantom. I'm just gonna be so real about that right now. But Eden's story is just like, it's just more tragic in a sense. But anyways, it's not like necessarily like fun or anything like that. But anyways, for Project Phantasm, they're trying to essentially create a portal to what I'm calling the Phantom World, really, or anything like that. I called it Ghost Zone for a while, but then I was like, I don't know what I think I'd just call it like the Phantom Dimension or something like that. But anyways, so that they could extract ectoplasm from the ghosts that are in there and use that to create weapons and stuff like that, to fight against, you know, like the enemies and stuff like that, so that they'd have more power, more juice in them. And so they call Hector up and they're like, hey, like, we got it working. We're working on the prototype. Like, the prototype is here, and we're gonna turn it on, and we want you to be there. We want you to be there, and you, like, we'll get you clearance, blah blah blah. And he doesn't want to leave his daughter at home. She's only 12. She can take care of herself. She knows how to do basic human necessity things. But he doesn't want to leave her alone, and he wants her to see this. He wants her to see that this is what he was working so hard on before. This, like, he wants to show her his life before Eden was ever born into it. And he's excited to show her this because he's like, he wants his daughter to know him more. Know him more because he didn't really talk. He talks about his days and being in the army, and then, you know, going up ranks, being there for a very long time, and while simultaneously being a husband to Eva. But he doesn't really talk. He didn't really. She didn't really get to experience being like what's like, I guess, quote unquote, like a military brat per se. Like, she didn't grow up moving around. She just grew up in one place, blah blah, you know. And he had to move around a lot. And he told Eva to like stay behind, you know, just like keep the ranch going. He'll write to her every day, which he did. He was a very devoted, loving husband, and she couldn't stay for that. Me hitting my own character, like, hello, like, abandoning your husband and your daughter because you thought you couldn't handle it, but you just needed support. Whatever. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, so he invites her to it, and they just, like, you know, they're driving, and he's just like very excited to like get her on the base so she can see what it's like, because Eden wanted to follow in his footsteps to essentially like join the army, like, just, you know, eventually become a general like him, and just make him proud, and just, you know, just be a general. Like, she wanted to make him proud, and she wanted to be exactly like him, you know, like, I'm gonna be just like you, no matter what you say that I can't do. I'll follow you until the day I can smile at you and say, big brother, I'm just like you. If you guys know that song, yeah, it's kind of literally her, but, you know, it's her father, you know. So they're driving up to this thing, and they get the clearance, they go in, they got the badges, whatever. Again, I don't know if this is actually true or not, or anything like that. I'm literally just pulling this out the ass. So, you know, they're going in, whatnot, and Eden, she's kind of very excited to see this. Like, she's very excited to, like, her feet have touched an army base, and she's like very excited about it because she's like, this is my future, this is where I want to be, blah 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 blah. And so she's like looking around, and her father's just like talking to his old friends and his co-workers, and they're just kind of like chatting, blah blah blah. And so they essentially they are watching the machine, and they turn it on, and a beam strikes out of it, which hits Eden, and another beam strikes out, which hits the ceiling of the laboratory that they're in, and it starts, everything just starts crumbling down from there because the machine, boom, explodes. So everything is just like tumbling down, and then believe it or not, this is because in Danny Phantom, I'm telling you, this is like a huge Danny Phantom ripoff, and I don't care, but I'm loving this. Okay, stay with me. So stay with me. But you know how in Danny Phantom, like, her, like, his molecules like change like immediately from, you know, like being completely human to half ghost, blah blah blah. But in this case, not for Eden. She just gets hit by the beam, and it just kind of like it leaves like a burn mark like on her stomach. So it leaves, or I don't know where the scar would be really. Well, she's not gonna have the scar, but where it hits her, I would say like it probably like hits her probably like her head. I don't know, like, like neurons and shit like that. I don't fucking know. But I would say it hits her head, and once this whole thing is coming down and exploding, Eden is not near her father, unfortunately, and debris falls down on her and trapping her there. And the last thing she remembers from that time is calling out for her father and reaching out for him before fades into unconsciousness because of all the pain, everything like that. So she falls under, and then she wakes up. And when she wakes up, she realizes she's in the hospital after being in a coma for 9 months. I debate between like 6 or 9 months. But I want to do 9 months because, birth. And essentially it's Eden being birthed into the half ghost that she is. So she wakes up, and there is a woman with her, a woman she doesn't recognize. And she thinks initially it's a nurse. But when she opens her eyes fully, like once her vision is adjusted, she notices an FBI badge on this woman. And come to find out, this is another character of mine who I will introduce in another video, Bianca. And Bianca Dembele. I don't know if I'm pronouncing my own character's name, last name right, but stay with me. And she doesn't tell Eden right away that she is Eden's new guardian. But unfortunately she does tell Eden that she's been in a coma for 9 months, and that her father died in the explosion of Project Phantasm. So he's dead. And when she hears this, her world just completely shatters. It crumbles down. She cannot bear to live without her father, because her father was everything. She was the only thing she had in this world, was the only thing. And finding out that he was dead, it changed something in her. And she wanted justice for her father, because he died what she believed a wrongful death, something that should have never happened. Because if it was a prototype, they should have been prepared for the setbacks, they should have been prepared for everything, but they weren't. And it caused her to be in a coma for 9 months, and took her father's life. So she's in shock, and then she cries, and Bianca comforts her. She's like, it's okay, like just not necessarily like cause reassuring her in a sense, but more so like telling her that she's gonna be there for Eden for whatever she needs. And so she's like just crying, she's comforting her. And later on, once Eden is discharged from the hospital, it's time for Hector's funeral. Because initially Bianca was planning it for the day that Eden was released, so that Eden could be there. She didn't want Eden to have to not be there at the funeral for her father, because she deserved to say goodbye. So they go to the funeral, and Eden is dressed up for it, and she does not want to be there, but she knows she has to, because she deserves a chance to say goodbye to her father, because she knows she never did when he passed initially that day. And And they fix up his corpse really well, that he didn't look to be that injured at all, but Eden can just tell that he was just injured. Like she knows something about her. Something tells her that he was in an excruciating amount of pain. She just senses something, and she just looks down at his body in the coffin, and she breaks down. All his veteran friends, Bianca, everyone just looks at her. Friends, family, they just look at her and they just know that her world was never going to be the same again. It was never going to be her and her father again. It was just Eden. It was just Eden, the sole living person in their family. Because Lord knows, only Lord knows where Eva is. Because she's not here. She's not there at the funeral. And she's not there to take her daughter, to take her in and love her and cherish her and show her the love of a mother. That doesn't come. And Hector doesn't come back. But she says her goodbyes and they bury him. He didn't want to be cremated, he wanted to be buried. And in his will, he left everything to Eden. Everything he owned, everything he had, everything was in her name now. The ranch, her name. His auto shop, it was hers now. She could do what she wanted with it. Everything that was once his was now hers. And he wanted his daughter to be well off whenever he passed. Whenever. And he died thinking that his daughter died before him. And he witnessed it. And no child should ever have to die before their parent. So, Bianca finally takes her home, and it doesn't feel right anymore. She feels like a stranger in her own home that she grew up in, that she was raised in. All the baby pictures of her around the house, they don't look right anymore. Nothing feels the same. Nothing feels right. And that's when Bianca finally tells her, I am your legal guardian now. I am an old friend of your father's from way back in the day. We worked a case together. And Eden does remember Bianca just a little bit, but she remembers she liked Bianca. She doesn't know much about her. She remembered what her father told her, that Bianca, that she was a forensic anthropologist for the FBI. I shouldn't say FBI really. I should say maybe just a certain investigative unit. It's basically like a special task force, really. But she tells Eden, I'm your legal guardian now. I fought for you. Every one of your father's friends wanted to fight for you, but I fought for you because something told me to fight for you. And with this, Eden decides she couldn't be in that home because her father wasn't there anymore. She wasn't gonna wake up and hear his loud singing. She wasn't gonna wake up and just hear him working on his car. She wasn't gonna stumble in on him trying to smoke a cigarette and her just telling him to quit. She wasn't gonna be able to do that anymore. So she decided she would move in with Bianca and her family. Now, Bianca, she will have her own separate video, but she does have, like 5 siblings. She has 5 siblings. 2 of them are older, 3 of them are younger, and they all live in the same house, and she essentially like lives with them. And she grows up basically like the rest of her. For when she wakes up, she's gonna be 13, and then Bianca has 5 years with her to raise her, and she learns what the love of a mother is. She learns at that time because her mother was never around to teach her that before. So now she finally knows what that's like. And as she's growing up with Bianca, and as she's just since her life changed, she wanted to fight for something better. But during this time too, I was thinking that this is the time, like shortly after Eden, after her father's funeral, that she discovers her abilities slowly but surely, that she can communicate with ghosts and everything like that, that she can, like I want her to be slowly discovering her powers, and then Bianca helping her with that. Now, Bianca, she's not the same thing that Eden is. She's not the same thing. Bianca is technically human, but again, she will have her own separate video. But she helps Eden with her abilities. Basically anything a phantom ghost can do, Eden can do. She can also, just cause electric disruption. She can haunt anyone she wants. She can create portals. She has regenerative healing. This is just a little bit of her abilities. And she could also possess someone if she wanted to, but it's completely unpleasant for her to possess somebody. She hates feeling like she's wearing someone's skin. Like, that's how it feels. Like skin on top of skin, and it's just squishy, and it's just, yeah. But yeah, I want to take those 5 years and, just have Eden just essentially training more, because once she finds out that she can open the portal herself to go to the place where Project Phantasm wanted to take the ectoplasm, she meets people. She meets mentors, she meets friends, maybe some enemies, but she meets them, and they train her, and they teach her what it's like, and how to separate from who is alive and who is dead. And at first it's overwhelming for her when she finds out that she can hear these spirits, when she can talk to them. It's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too much noise. But she does learn to control it. And she learns how to hear the most important stuff. Really. She can pay attention to what catches her attention. And she gets a little, investigative, I could imagine her, I don't even have to imagine. I want to write her as, like, this blogger, like, this is Spectra, basically. Spectra, like, freaking Eden has her own little blog where she just, like, reveals shit that the ghosts tell her. Because, like, when you're not so old, you don't have that maturity, you don't have, like, that self-control yet, really. And I want her to just kind of do that for a portion of her life, like, while she's in high school. And she does. So she does that. And then, 5 years, she's thinking, like, after school, like, after high school, after she graduates, like, what am I gonna do? Because she knows, she resents the army now, because she sees them as the cause of her father's death. She sees that now. She doesn't see what she once saw. She sees her father dying in front of her. Every time she thinks of it, well, he didn't die in front of her, but like, she thinks of her father. She thinks of his death. She thinks of how painful it was for her and for him, and how it took lives from people. So she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to. And she's debating. She's debating on it. And she decides, a lawyer. She may not fight physically for justice at this time. She may not do that, but she could help the system from inside and out, because also in this time she has become a vigilante. Now we could see her as being Robin to Bianca. Again, Bianca will have her own separate video, but Eden at the time is Poltergeist. It's very accurate if you ask me, at least in my mind. So she becomes Poltergeist in this time, being Bianca's little sidekick, and partner and daughter, very very Bruce Wayne-esque, but Bianca did it because spirits told her to. Now she can talk to spirits too. Again, she will have her own separate video. But stay with me. Told her to adopt Eden, told her to raise her, to help her. And so she did. She did what she was told, as she followed. And, but yes, so she wants to become a lawyer. And so she does go to law school. And she's kind of thinking, well, I don't want to live with Bianca forever. Like, don't get her wrong. She loves Bianca. She, like, sees her as a mother, everything like that. But she wants her own name. Because she was just known as Bianca's daughter. And Bianca was a well-renowned forensic anthropologist. Probably the best anyone has ever seen. Like, the bones speak to her. So, she decides, hey, I'm gonna move to a place that has a lot of crime and deserves something different. And so, ladies and gentlemen, she decides to move to Gotham. Also, I didn't get too much to talk about this a little much, but her appearance, it does change. Originally, she does have like dark brown hair, like nearly black, but in sun you can just see like it's brown. Like you can see the color. And she does originally have just like dark eyes, but obviously, as you are seeing, I'm not sure how where we are out right now, because I'm literally just recording the audio right now. I'm not even drawing right now. With her gray eyes. Now, I essentially wanted her to look like dead. Like, I wanted her to look differently, like with the technically grayish streak in, I guess, real life, but the white streak in her curly hair, her eyes changing from lively to just like I believe the character's name is Naho from Corpse Party, where they described her as having like dead fish eyes. Like, I wanted that kind of for Eden, because originally she was just gonna have like black eyes and everything, and she still would have had like multiple streaks of white in her hair, but then I decided against that, and I just decided that one streak, and then just changing the eye color from like, let's say, like black to gray, obviously. But her appearance does change. She becomes a little more paler. Her lips are a bit discolored. She has like, her eyes look almost sunken in. Like, I'm telling you, like, she essentially just became half dead, if you want to think about it. She, like, a part of her died. So that's how her appearance changed. But she still grew up. She still went through puberty, everything like that. Whatever. Um, and so what I'm thinking of for Eden, so she moves to Gotham, and she joins a law firm, and she's technically just going up in ranks, like she's getting cases like left and right, and well, not really, but she's just trying to climb up this ladder, because like when she's in Gotham, like she can see like what others have said about it, like like she can see like the truth, and she wants to better it. She wants to better it, and she wants to be the people, someone that people can actually trust, not like these corrupt police officers, lawyers, people in charge. Like she doesn't want to be that person. She wants loyalty. She wants to give loyalty to Gotham, and that's what she wants to do. She wants to become Gotham's district attorney. That is her main goal for her civilian life. That is her main goal, because she wants to get rid of every single corrupt person in Gotham, or better them. And what was I saying? I had like a train of thought going there. But she wants to become Gotham's district attorney. And, she's going up in the ranks, and going at it case by case. She mainly prosecutes. She doesn't defend. She mainly prosecutes, which is something that she loves to do. Growing up, she always loved to talk shit. She always loved to argue. Arguing, she would say, was her best hobby. And she was very sassy with it too. And if you want to like compare, lawyer characters, she is like a mix of like Alex Cabot and Raphael Barba from SVU, from Law and Order Special Victims Unit. And so if we want to think about her like that, it's like that in court. Like that's who you're going up against in court. Let's say if you're a lawyer and you're watching this, that's essentially who you're going against. So she's just she's trying her best. She's going up the ranks slowly, because everyone thinks she's like soft, like she's weak, because she wants to be better for Gotham. Like they like see her, and they see like her goal, and they're just like, you're never going to accomplish that. But she wants to. She's like very adamant about being district attorney. And in her vigilante life, she starts hunting. And what I mean when I say that is, with Project Phantasm, she starts hunting down all the laboratories that worked on it, that are working on it, and she's dismantling it. She's dismantling everything. She is taking blueprints and she's ripping them up, and she is like just destroying everything that Project Phantasm stood for, and everything it did, everything it built. She's destroying everything from it, because they destroyed her life by taking away her father. And so she's doing that. And guess whose attention it catches? Batman. Bruce Wayne. So this is how I want them to meet. So she essentially oh my gosh, how did this go? in my head, how did this go? So Bruce, like, he was investigating like the break-ins, because they had called the police about it, and they were just kind of like, hey, like, what's going on, blah blah blah. But Batman decided to investigate, because he found it weird that it was specific pieces of technology, like everything else was untouched but this specific one. So he starts investigating, and he's just like, oh, what's going on, blah blah blah. And so one day, so we know how Eden can do electronic disruption. One night, she forgets to do that because she's distracted by a case in her real life, in her civilian life. So she forgets to do that. And after she does her thing, everything like that, Bruce manages to get the video. And he sees like this masked figure, like, but she's not masked. She has a helmet on. Any feature that would indicate gender, erased. Like, it just seemed like a person. Now, if we want to call it Uncanny Valley, like this, like literally like no identifiable features, and I gave Eden identifiable features, like her big rack and her big heart. So she's doing so literally Bruce is kind of like, yo, like, who the hell is this, basically. So he's just kind of like, what, like, who is this, like I need to investigate, blah blah blah, you know how Bruce Wayne gets. So he gets into his detective mode, and he starts like piecing together like this vigilante came from New Orleans, Louisiana, and now is in Gotham, New Jersey. I feel like everybody forgets that Gotham is in New Jersey. Everything's legal in New Jersey. I keep hitting the mic with my nose. I'm so sorry if you guys keep hearing that. I'm like, don't. I think I did. This is the second time I did it. But anyways. So he's kind of like, okay, so they came from New Orleans. They're known. I heard something about them, but they're not in my jurisdiction, so I don't care. Because Batman is always just about like, forgot them. I could do a better impression, but right now I don't want to. But anyways, so he's kind of like, he's investigating, like, who is this? Who's behind the mask? And he wants to confront the person behind it. So, he's doing his little research, and he's kind of like, he came from New Orleans. Who's someone who moved here recently from Cell? So I could just imagine like a few names pop up at least. I don't know. Rent is cheap in Gotham. Hey, that's what I hear. So he's kind of like going through these, and then he's going through them one by one, looking through their files, looking through everything, just kind of like, like, who could this be? And so he lands on Eden. He's looking through her files, he sees her birth certificate, he sees, some stuff. He sees her whole life, basically, because you know how Bruce Wayne is. So he sees, like, articles about her, being like, being in that accident, and everything like it. So when he goes to look up said accident, him and Alfred found discrepancies in the file, like someone was covering it up, because it was initially said that it was an accident, that it was a fire, something like that. It just didn't fit. It didn't fit. So they're kind of like, so they said they look into it a little more, type in their little fingers. Just at the back computer. And then they're just kind of looking through it, like, looking through these, these files, trying to break through, hacking, stuff like that. So they finally find an archived file, Project Phantasm. Now they're going through it, and they're like oh my god, like this is what really happened, blah blah blah. So that, Eureka. Bruce is like, it's Eden Angelica Perez. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna set up an appointment. I'm gonna set up an appointment with Eden. So he sets up an appointment to get legal advice from her, or like counseling, basically. So he sets up this appointment, and Eden's just walking into work. She's not thinking anything. She's walking with her head held high because she's confident in herself, and she always has been. Like she girl barely doubts herself. She kind of cocky. And she was like, she was young. She grew up with her father. Her father taught her how to fight. How to properly make a fist. He taught her some stuff. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Anyways, so she's cool-headed. She's like not thinking of anything in particular. Her mind. She's walking in with her tea, her iced tea. She typically drinks tea instead of coffee. She doesn't really like coffee. She doesn't like the taste. That's one thing I put in that I have myself that I put in her. Huh? I just hurt myself. Anyways. And so she's like talking, and so her assistant, her secretary, whatever the fuck, is like, oh, you have a meeting, like, and they want it to be completely like, they want full discretion, blah blah blah. And so Eden's like, okay, cool. She's just doing her job, and she loves her job. She loves it. So she's walking into her office, and she's like, hey, sorry I'm late. My alarm woke me up late, blah blah blah. And she's hanging up her coat, she's hanging up her purse, blah blah blah. And as soon as she finally looks at her client, it's Bruce Wayne sitting in front of her desk, and she's kind of like, I'm not your lawyer. And he makes up the excuse like he doesn't know if he can trust his lawyer. He's just kind of like trust his lawyer with this, and he doesn't know, he just doesn't know who to trust. And he's like, you're like the best prosecutor, and I wanted to, relay my worries to you, blah 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 blah. So he he spews that, and Eden's like, oh, okay, it's fine, you just relax, and I'll help you out. So she sits down at her desk, and she quickly grabs her little notepad and her pen, and she's this siren. I don't know if you guys hear that, but she wants to write down what he's telling her so that she can look it up, blah blah blah. And so he's telling her that he's worried about a certain company, that they're not doing something very illegal. And she's like, okay, thank you for telling me this. She's writing down the information. And she's like, okay, so what's the name of the laboratory? And then Eureka, he's like, hey, it's this name. And then Eden, internally, she's like, damn, that's the next name on my list. So so she kind of keeps it cool, she's very calm in her demeanor, she knows how to act. So she's telling Bruce, okay, interesting, I'll look into it, blah blah blah, their little meeting is over, that's over, and now he knows where she's gonna be next. He planted the seed. And so he's telling Alfred, hey, I'm gonna confront her tonight. So Eden, late at night, vigilantes come out late at night, not like Duke Thomas. We need more of Duke Thomas. We need more of Stephanie. We need more of Cassandra, by the way. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah. So, Vigilante, she comes out late at night. Poltergeist comes out. And, they get to this place and they see that it's abandoned, but they still do their energy disruption thing so that they can go through in case there's any, like, alarms, silent booby traps, stuff like that. She's just walking through. She's trying to find, like, the one place where they would have this machine, this piece of technology, whatever the fuck it is. So she's, like, walking through and she's like, la 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 la. She spots it and she's immediately looking around for blueprints. Because if she's gonna take this down, she's gonna do it without causing an explosion. She wants to do this discreetly. So, she's, like, looking around for, like, the blueprints and stuff. And then, oh! Guess who comes up behind her? It's the Batman. And so Bruce is like, hey, we gotta talk. And then Eden's like, what the fuck? Like, who the fuck are you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, to her, like, she never looks up any news about any other vigilante. Like, she literally only cares about herself and her adoptive mother, Bianca. Which, real. So she's kind of like, who the fuck are you? And, she, like, starts, like, to fight him, blah, 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 just kind of like, because, she's startled. She thinks he's here to, like, she basically thinks he's here to essentially, like stop her or whatever from doing whatever she's doing. And she's like, I can't have that. No. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fight him. So she tries to fight him, like, he's kind of fending her off a little bit, and she gets the upper hand. Like, she pins him down, and she's just practically like straddling him, just pins him down, and she's kind of like demanding who he is, like, what is he doing here, blah 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 blah, like, just interrogating him. And he reluctantly answers, like, he answers her questions because he doesn't know how to stop her. Like, he hasn't studied anything about, like, her weaknesses or anything like that, which was a misstep on his part. So he's practically like just like under her mercy or something like that, and he's just kind of reluctantly answering her questions, and then she's kind of like, like okay, or, well, that's not how, I'm sorry, that's not how I actually wanted to go. She's asking him questions, and that's like, that's basically like the abridged version. But anyways, so she interrogates him, asking him questions, and she's kind of like, hey, what the hell are you doing here? Blah blah blah, and he's just kind of like, I'm here because of Project Phantasm, and that just makes her angry. Like, she's like, just kind of like, how the hell do you know about that? Blah 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 blah. And he's like, you've been, like, stealing their technology and taking them down, and he initially thought that she was just a thief. Like, that's what he initially thought. Like, he, like, knew, like, she was getting revenge, but he initially thought like she was a thief. So, well, the beginning, well, there's a reason or something, like, why he looks into her as well. But yeah, let's talk about that before I continue on with that. Essentially, like, one night he, like, kind of follows her around because he's, like, kind of knows her pattern at this point, kind of knows her, and she, like, someone tips her off, and that he's following her and everything like that. So, to be a little petty and to, lure him in to meet him and see him face to face. So she lures him into, like, an apartment of a socialite that she happens to know in real life, and she starts, like, pretending to like steal, like essentially like think of Selena Kyle, but you know, it's Eden. But you know, she's essentially like pretending to like steal like pieces of jewelry, stuff like that, and he's just kind of like, hey, like what the fuck are you doing? And like startles her, and she's like, I know you've been following me, you know, blah blah blah, and she's just kind of like taunting him, like he's like, you know, like he's like, this is beneath you, and she's like, I know, but this is my way to lure you in. And you know, they talk a little bit. He thinks she's just a common thief because he doesn't know at this point. Well, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of their first encounter. You know, I'm sorry, I'm a little under the influence right now. It kicked in. Probably about like 20 minutes ago. But it kicked in. Anyways, so you know, she's practically like taunting him, you know, and he just thinks she's a common thief. Now, anyways, you know, get back, you know, he researches into her, lures her in, and now they're talking. So now they're talking, and she's just kind of like, how the fuck do you know about magic phantasm? He's like, I just looked into you, blah blah blah. He's like, why would the why the fuck would you she's like, why the fuck would you do that? And he's just kind of like, you know, I just wanted to understand you. I thought you were like just a common thief, but I see you're doing this for good. And you know, they have a little moment, and she's just kind of like, you're not gonna like, and like she knows that at at this point, like she knows that like he's not gonna like leave this alone, because like he thinks it's reckless the way she's doing it, and she's just kind of like, it's not, it's just me doing it's just me doing what they did to me. So that's her thought process, and he's just kind of like, well, I don't agree. And so he's like, I'm gonna help you take this down. You don't have to be alone anymore. You know, he's trying to play into her emotions. And you know, she kind of like plays along a little bit. You know, she's like, you know what, fine. And so that's how they start working together. That is basically like their little origin story in my mind. And I do have her being Bruce Wayne's love interest, which is why I drew them together. They're not just partners; they're soulmates in my eyes. And basically, I want this to be a good love interest for Bruce. I feel like, you know, for once, he should have someone who technically has the same mentality as him. Not really, but who can try to make him better along with themselves. Basically just be the rock that he needs, and like the stability he needs, because with Eden, like she's completely stable with like her civilian life and with her vigilante life. Like she's taking, like, on top of it, she's taking this whole thing down along with like ghosts and ghost hordes and stuff like that. Like she's taking that down with it. Like she's a very busy woman. Like essentially no time for love if we think about it. Which her exes, she's going to have exes. Yes, I imagine it being 3 of them, by the way. But she has these exes, and what was I gonna say about them? Shit. Oh yeah, who taught her lessons? Yeah, who taught her lessons? Yeah, who taught her lessons about love and like what she needs to look for. And basically Bruce kind of offers that to her, essentially. But yeah, this is how I don't know. I love them together. Like, I don't know. Do you guys see the vision? Initially I was gonna have her be a love interest of Jason, but I don't know, I just decided Bruce is a little bit better. And I don't know, I feel like technically Eden could work for Jason too, if we really think about it. But yeah, I don't know, I just want Bruce to have like a better love interest than like, you know, like a villain, like, you know, stuff like that. Like I love all his love interests, you know, except for except that one with purple hair. I essentially like all his love interests, but I don't know. I just feel like he needs something. He needs someone who can like understand him inside out, and not try to completely like pull him away from his mission, because you know, like deep down she knows that this is the like this most important thing to him, and she can't take that away from him because, like, you know, I thought like hissy fit or something. Um, yeah, you know, that's what I want for them. Like, I don't know, I just want them to be like essentially. I want to be so biased. I want to be so biased, and I want to say that Eden is probably like the best love interest for Bruce in my head. If they ever want to, like, you know, make my girl canon in the DC universe, which I would love. I would love if that happened, and then, you know, like, seeing my little story come to life. Like, I could draw it, but like, Lord knows that it would take me years because of the time and effort and everything like that. I would want Jorge Jimenez to illustrate that too, or Dan Mora. Anyways, yeah, no, that's Eden. I made her pansexual. I want her to be born in Mexico technically, but I guess not really. Let's see. She has a lot of friends in Gotham. I want her to be kind of just kind of well known and well liked. You know, like, she has like her group of people that she, you know, she likes and she trusts. You know, she also has like a lot of piercings, which you don't see in this drawing, but she has 2 eyebrow piercings, she has a lip piercing, she has a septum piercing, ear piercings, nipple piercings, and a belly button piercing. Yeah, so she has a belly button ring. So, what else? What else can I tell you about her? I technically want her to be like a lawyer / journalist, because low key I want her to keep like her you know, her little blog and stuff like that, but just kind of turn it into like journalism in a sense. Yeah, I could read you all her abilities actually. Let's see. So she has a cold presence, so like literally everyone says they get a chill when she walks into the room, and I'm like, it's her. And she can cause like destruction, she can manipulate ectoplasm, electronic disruption, energy independence, haunting, inaudibility, intangibility, invisibility, invulnerability, flight, enhanced supernatural condition, portal creation, ghostly whale, regenerative healing, shapeshifting, ectokinetic shapeshifting, ghostly tail, possession, and psychonic. Now for that, it's kind of a little limited. I'm gonna be real. I kind of want her to project, to essentially raise up the dead and project images of dead people and of dead loved ones in her enemies' minds. She's a little evil for that. She's a little evil, but she doesn't do it that often. Only if like it's absolutely necessary, like with possession as well. Like, she doesn't like to do it. She does not like to do that. Oh, and like her wardrobe, I imagine like in the office is like just kind of like office siren, but, you know, appropriate. You know, oh, like I just want her to be cunty, you know, just cunty, and I make her wear glasses, you know, kind of like Clark Kent style, but she wears them so that, you know, she wants to throw off anyone in any way she can, and she wants, like, technically, like, she wants to imagine her vision being impaired. That would not, you know what I mean? You know, like, vision being impaired. She wouldn't be, like, a good fighter or anything, so, you know. But yes, like, office siren, and, like, I just want her to dress, like, kind of, like, how do I guess hyper femme, but, like, think of it, like, grungy in a sense, you know? Like, yeah, like what? I'm like thinking of an outfit she would wear. I actually have her Pinterest board. Let me pull it up. Yo, let me pull up Pinterest board. Pinterest board. Do I have any casual outfits for her? Technically. Okay, so what she would be wearing is like think of like just like a regular shirt or like a long sleeve shirt, like a nice like shirt with like just a long flowy skirt, like just kind of like almost whimsical goth, but like minimalist whimsical goth, like that. This is how I would describe. Is how I would describe her fashion. When she's out of the office, she likes to smoke cigarettes, even though like she tried to get her father to quit, but no one's trying to make her quit. Bruce will be though. She loves a lemon drop. She uses weed occasionally. She doesn't use it that often because she doesn't want it to like fog up her senses or something like that, That's pretty much it for what I have for Eden right now, and I really hope you guys are liking this. This is like an hour long. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It's technically not a speed paint, but it really depends on the footage. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing Bruce Wayne and Eden, this little drawing I have of them, actual height comparison. And look at her, she even wearing heels. I didn't want to make her too small though. I want to make her a little bit bigger. Like I just made her like hair reach his shoulder just barely. I don't know. I probably like want to change their size because I don't want her to be like like 3 apples tall, but as Mexicans we don't have that height sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't want her to be like all like Mary Sue, like you're just like you guys know what I mean. So just imagine like her head, like where her actual head would be instead of like her curly hair, it like reaches shoulder. But yes. Oh yeah, I also made her have white eyebrows because I was like, it's kind of cunty. And for Bruce, I did draw like his eyebrows like this because I was like, oh, I love that. I really hope you guys like my Bruce. I do really like him. I don't know. I feel like I could draw a better Bruce though. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed like this ramble, like yap session about my OC Eden. Like I just love her so much. She lives in my head like rent free. I do need to draw her adoptive mother, Bianca, then make a separate video about Bianca. But I just love Eden so much. Like I initially had her as John Constantine's love interest, but I decided that they would like at least be like a fling a little bit, and then her with Satana too, and then yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, I like them as being as their love interest. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to like leave a like or something, or if you actually watched this far, if you watch this far, you can leave a ghost emoji in the comments. Yeah, I probably will make more content. I will make more content of Eden, and if any of her story does change, then I will update you guys and everything like that. But for now, this is it for now. And yeah, I hope to see you all on the next one of whatever I make. Peace out, my little lambs. I love y'all.